suspect, still unidentified, remains in custody tonight. Police say the string of midnight attacks has left the city on edge. Streets that once slept quietly are now watched by flashing lights.
Today, something big happened in one of America's most disturbing crime cases. A case most people thought was finished. A case that's been cold for decades. One of the country's most infamous serial killers has just confessed.
Today, something big happened in one of America's most disturbing crime cases. A case most people thought was finished. A case that's been cold for decades. One of the country's most infamous serial killers has just confessed. Again. And this time, the details are chilling. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear changes how we understand this case forever. For nearly 50 years, this man stayed quiet. He went to prison. He faded from the headlines. And most people assumed the truth was already known. But now, at 79 years old, Richard Cottingham, known as the Torso Killer, has admitted to a murder no one could prove for almost 6 decades. A young woman, a vanished life, and a secret that stayed buried until now. To the outside world, Richard Cottingham looked normal. He had a job, he had a family, he blended in. But between the late 1960s and 1980, he lived a double life. At night, he hunted. Cottingham targeted vulnerable women, often sex workers in New York and New Jersey. He would meet them in cheap hotels, attack them, and then dismember their bodies. That's how he earned the name the Torso Killer. Police believe he killed dozens of women. Some investigators think the number could be much higher, but for years they couldn't prove it. In 1980, Cottingham was finally caught. A hotel employee heard screams coming from a room. Police rushed in, and they found Cottingham in the act. One woman survived, and Cottingham was arrested on the spot. That moment stopped the killings, but it didn't answer the biggest question: how many victims were still unknown? One of those unanswered cases belonged to an 18-year-old nursing student named Alice Eberhardt. In 1965, Alice disappeared in New Jersey. She never came home. There were no witnesses, no DNA, no clear suspects. Her case went cold almost immediately. For decades, her family lived without answers. No body, no justice, just silence. Until now. In recent interviews with investigators, Cottingham finally spoke. He admitted he murdered Alice Eberhardt. He described details only the killer would know. Details that matched evidence uncovered through modern forensic testing. After nearly 60 years, the truth finally surfaced. This wasn't speculation. This wasn't theory. It was a confession, and it confirmed what investigators had suspected for years. Cottingham was active far earlier than anyone realized. This confession changes everything. It proves Cottingham was killing years before his known crime spree. It opens the door to dozens of other cold cases from the 1960s and 70s. Cases once considered unsolvable. Now investigators believe more victims could finally be identified, and families who waited their entire lives for answers may finally get them. Back in the 1960s, DNA testing didn't exist. Evidence was limited. Records were paper. Mistakes were permanent. Today, it's different. Old evidence can be retested. DNA can be matched. Cases can be reopened. In this case, modern forensic science did what time couldn't. It connected Cottingham to a crime that haunted investigators for decades. And it raises a disturbing question. How many other killers are still hidden in cold case files? Psychologists describe Cottingham as calm and controlled. He didn't act out of rage. He planned. He waited. He hid in plain sight. By day, he was a family man. By night, he became one of the most dangerous predators in American history. That contrast is what made him so hard to catch, and it's what allowed him to kill for years without detection. For Alice Eberhardt's family, this confession is heartbreaking, but it also brings clarity. They finally know what happened. They finally know who did it. It doesn't erase the pain, but it ends the uncertainty. For many families, that matters more than anything else. Investigators are now reviewing other cold cases connected to Cottingham. More evidence is being tested. More files are being reopened. This confession may only be the beginning. There could be more victims, more truths, more names waiting to be identified. And this case, once considered closed, is now very much alive again. This story isn't over. In our next video, we'll break down the full timeline of Cottingham's crimes and the cold cases now being re-examined. If you want those updates, make sure you're subscribed, because sometimes the truth doesn't come quickly. It waits. And when it finally comes out, it changes everything.
Taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me,